while they were beating him.
Die tyd wat hulle hom slaan.
Can you dispute this?
Kan u dit ontken?
Ik was niet aan, wel ik heb geen commentaar op het.
I was not there, my lord, I have no comment.
The beating took about 30 minutes.
Die slaandery omtrent so 30 minute geneem.
They took him out of the back of the van
Hulle het hom uitgehaal in die agterkant van die van
towards the beach.
na die strand se kant.
While standing towards the beach, still beating him, they told him, "We are going to bury you in this sand."
Die tyd wat hulle daar by die langs die strand gestaan het, hulle het hom gesê ons gaan vir hier begrawe in hierdie sand.
What have you done with Joshlin?
Wat het jy gedoen met Joshlin?
Can you dispute that?
Kan u dit ontken?
Geen commentaar, ik was niet daar geweest.
No comment, I was not there.
While standing next to the beach,
Die tyd wat langs hulle die strand gestaan het,
one of these members pinched his private parts.
en die tyd wat hulle langs die strand gestaan het en een van hierdie persone het sy private dele geknyp,
Still, they were asking him, "What have you done with Joshlin?"
hulle het nog steeds vir hom gevra, wat het jy gedoen met Joshlin?
As if that was not enough, one of them opened his mouth and pushed the front part of the firearm inside his mouth.
En so dit was nie genoeg nie, toe die een van die persone sy mond oopgemaak, laat die mond oopmaak en die voorkant van die vuurwapen in sy mond ingesit gedruk of gestoot.
Can you dispute that this took place?
Kan u dit ontken?
Geen commentaar, ik was niet daar. Nee.
No comment, I was not there.
They beat him. They told him, "We are going to push you inside the ocean. You will die there with your handcuffs."
Hulle het hom gestoot, hulle het hom gesê dat ons gaan vir jou hier in die strand instoot en jy gaan doodgaan met hierdie
It
sorry
was,
my lord, sorry. Jy gaan doodgaan hier in die strand in met die handcuffs aan.
it was at that time that a white man driving a buggy appeared.
Dit is die tyd wat 'n wit persoon, wat 'n mansmens wat gekom het wat 'n bakkie gery het
With his black laborers at the back of the van.
met soos werkers wat in die agter die van gesit is, swart werkers.
Then he said to these two members,
Hy het gesê aan hierdie twee ledes,
"This is a private property. You can't do this here."
dit is 'n private plek. Julle kan dit hier doen nie.
Any comment to that?
Enige kommentaar oor dit?
Geen commentaar, ik lag maar.
No comments, my lord.
And he instructs me that when I first saw the firearms, I thought maybe they are looking for me regarding my previous convictions. It is only when we arrived at Jokos Bay when they started to ask me with Joshlin. Oh, now I started to know it's the police who are involved in this matter of Joshlin.
Eerstens sê die instruksies is dat die eerste keer hy het gedink, die tyd wat hy die vuurwapens gesien het, hy het gedink is mense wat vir hom gaan vra oor sy vorige veroordelings. Maar die tyd wat hulle by Jacobs bykom, toe hulle vir hom gevra oor, toe sê o, dis die mense wat, die polisiebeampte of mense wat betrokke in Joshlin se saak is.
Geen commentaar, ik lag maar.
No comments, my lord.
From there, he was taken to see border officers.
Daarvan af, hy was geneem na Seaborder kantore toe.
Geen commentaar.
No comments, my lord.
The two police officers who gave me lift, they joined the other officers who they found at sea border offices, and the assault continued.
Die twee polisiebeampte wat vir hom geleentheid gegee, hulle dan bygekom met die anders by die Seaborder kantore, die aanranding het dan voorgegaan.
Geen commentaar.
No comment.
My client instructs me that when you were saying you were up and down interviewing them, you were not up and down interviewing them, you were up and down instructing those officers to beat him.
My instructies van my kliënt is dat die tyd as u sê dat u was op en af intussen van hierdie sorry my lord. As my kliënt se instructies dat die tyd wat as u sê u was op en af, nee, maar dan in tydens van hierdie my lord, the Afrikaans will just slip now again. Onderhoud my hele, dankie. Die tyd wat u sê dat u was op en af tussen die onderhoude, nee, dit is nie so nie. U het instructies gegee aan hierdie beamptes om hulle aan te raan.
Meneer Agberge, soos getuige ten hoof,
My lord, as I've testified in evidence in chief,
en soos in my verklaring melding gemaak is,
and as also mentioned in my statement,
dat ek die kantore besoek het waar die 3 gewees het.
that I went to the offices where they were.
So die instruksie wat Stefano aan gegee het dat ek nie het besoek het, is nie waar nie.
The instructions that you were given by Stevino are not true.
Die tweede gedeelte van die instruksie,
And the second part of the instructions,
waar hy sê dat ek die lede opdrag gegee het om hom aan te rand, is ook nie waar nie.
and that I gave instructions to the members to assault him or beat him up, they're also not true.
When he arrived at sea border offices,
When you're terrorists by them gekom met die seaborder kantore,
he was first taken to the first office.
hy was eers geneem na die eerste kantoor.
As you testified, that the group that was interviewing him has about 4 members. That is instructions to me.
En soos u gesê het, die mense wat die onderhoud saam met hom gedoen het, was 4 of 5, dit is sy instructies ook aan my.
Daar was 4 of 5 mense saam met hom in die kantoor nadat hy uit die boardroom uitgehaal gewees het.
Yes, there were 4 or 5 people with him after I came from the boardroom.
Additionally to those 4 members that you've mentioned before this court, there was these 2 that brought him from Jacob's Bay.
Om buitengevoel by die 4 of 5 mense, daar was die 2 wat hom gebringe van Jacob's Bay.
Meneer Agberge, ek het getuig dat ek weet nie wie hom gebring het nie, dat ek het gehoor het, dat hom gekry in Diaswil.
My lord, I will testify that I don't know who brought him, and I was told that he was fetching as well.
When we reach that stage, I will argue that you didn't interview my client, you interrogated him.
As ons op daardie stadium kom, ek gaan nie in die hof sê of te sê dat u het nie my kliënt gevra nie of 'n onderhoud gevoer met hom nie, u het hom geïnterrogeer.
Meneer Agberge, ons het 'n onderhoud met hom gevoer.
We had an interview with him, my lord.
Okay, let's go back to the office.
Laat ons teruggaan na die kantoor toe.
He was beaten in this office. He was asked, "Where's Joshlin? What have you done with Joshlin?"
Hy was aangeraan in daardie kantoor, hy was gevra wat het julle gedoen met Joshlin?
And we've got information that you were involved in the disappearance of Joshlin.
En ons het informasie verband dat van die verdwijning van Joshlin.
Meneer Agberge,
That's correct?
He was denying all these allegations,
Het al van het ontken.
but this assault didn't stop.
Maar die aanranding het nie gestop nie.
ek raak nie kennis van enige aanranding wat plaasgevind het.
I bear no knowledge of assault that took place.
That is not surprising either. In this first office, they told him, "You are not speaking, now we're going to take you to the other people."
En na die kantoor was gesê dat nou praat jy nie, so ons gaan voor na die ander mense toe neem.
Die rede hoekom hy uit die boardroom uitgehaal gewees het,
The reason he was taken out of the boardroom,
van die onderhoude het met hulle individually gebeur na dit.
can you please repeat that?
Van die onderhoude het begin, dit was so 10 uur se kant die aand,
When the interview started, it was around about 10 o'clock the evening.
en hulle was apart geïnterview gewees.
They were interviewed apart,
Dis hoekom hy uitgehaal gewees het uit die boardroom uit.
hence he was taken out of the boardroom.
We'll argue that you are misleading the court.
Ons gaan praat oor een van die saak dat u mislei die hof.
Dit is nie waar nie.
It's not true.
when you said you saw him seated behind the table,
As u sê dat u vir hom gesien agter die tafel sit,
my client is instructing me that you were misleading the court.
my kliënt instructies is dat u mislei die hof.
Agter daai is die waarheid, dit is waar ek hom gesien het.
My lord, that is the truth and that is what I observed or that's what I saw.
There was no time he was honored to sit behind the table.
Daar was geen tyd waar hy geleentheid gekry het om agter 'n tafel te sit.
Ek het hom gevind agter die tafel en lag maar.
I found him behind the table, my lord.
From the first office, he was taken to the second office.
Van die eerste kantoor, hy was geneem na die tweede kantoor toe.
When he arrived, before even arriving, he could hear someone screaming.
Voordat hy daar aangekom het, hy het gehoor iemand skree,
But at that time, he didn't know where these screams were coming from.
maar op daardie tyd het hy nie geweet nie waar kom hierdie skreeëry vanaf nie.
During the interviews, did you hear any screams in your offices?
Tydens die onderhoud het u enige geluide gehoor ons geskreeëry gehoor?
By die Seabode kantore.
By the Seaboard offices?
Nee, agter.
No, my lord.
You didn't hear any screams.
Jy het geen skreeëry gehoor nie.
Dit is korrek het lag maar.
That's correct.
My client heard them. And when he was taken to the second office, he
Like-
could witness that is Mr. Police who was screaming.
My kliënt het dit gehoor en hy sê die tyd wat hy na die tweede kantoor toe geneem, hy het dit waargeneem, hy het gesien dat dit was meneer Apollos wat so geskree het.
Meneer Polis het nie geskree nie.
Mr. Apollos did not scream.
While he was screaming, he was hanged in the manner in which my learned colleague for the defense, Mr. Ramsey, has explained before this court.
Die tyd wat hy skree, hulle het hom in 'n manier gehou soos voor in meneer Haram se verduidelike te hof.
Ek het geen kommentaar van die gehang, soos meneer Harms se verduidelik het dit nie plaasgevind nie.
I have no comment as of what Mr. Adams have mentioned or how the person was hanged. I was not there.
You were only there during the interviews when the members were calling you from FCFs up to sea border offices. FCS sea border offices. That's where you were present.
U was net teenwoordig die tyd wat die lede vir u geroep het van die FCS kantore af na die Seaboard kantore, FCS Seaboard kantore.
Dit is korrek het lag maar.
That's correct, my lord.
My client instructs me, at that time I could not even walk properly because my tassels were paining from being pinched by the police officers.
My kliënt se instruksies is dat ek kan nie eers reg geloop het want my private dele was so seer gewees die tyd wat die polisiebeampte vir my geknyp het.
Ek het geen kommentaar because ek het nie vir Stefano gesien loop nie.
Have no comment, my lord, because I did not see Stefano walking.
Korrek, die enigste wat ek vir Stefano gesien loop het was gister agter is toe hy uit die boordkamer het loop na die kantoor langs aan toe.
Just to make a correction, my lord, the time that I saw Stefano walking was from the boardroom to the other office.
En ek het nie iets opgelet dat hy loop in pyn of enige ongemak nie.
I did not see that he was walking in pain or he was walking at ease.
If you've noticed that he was walking in pain, what have you done? What you could have done?
As u dit opgelet het dat hy loop in pyn, wat sou u gedoen het?
Ek sou hom gevra het of hy enige wat fout is.
I was going to ask him what's the problem.
You've seen Mr. Apollos with a sonnen eye. Did you ask him what was the problem?
U het vir meneer Paulus gesien met 'n oog wat opgeswel is en u vir hom gevra wat is die probleem?
Dit is korrek.
Yes, that's correct.
After knowing what was the problem, what did you do with the problem?
Nadat u geweet het wat is die probleem, wat het u gedoen met dit?
Meneer Polis het vir my gesê dat dit nie 'n probleem is nie, hy was nie aangeraak nie.
Mr. Apollos told me that is not a problem and he was not assaulted.
I'm
Okay.
asking you, you've seen that he was having a solemn eye. I'm asking you, I'm not asking him. What did you do after realizing that This person I've called for interview now is having a swollen arm. What did you do?
Ek vra vir u, die tyd wat u opgelet het dat meneer Apollos het 'n blou oog op die oog is opgeswel, wat het u gedoen? Want u het die persoon geroep of ingeroep vir die onderhoud. Wat het u gedoen met dit?
Ik heb hem gevraagd wat het gebeur of hij aangeraan geweest is. En toen heeft hij mij gezegd, nee, toen laat ik het daar.
I asked him what happened, was you assaulted, when he said no, I just left it at that.
You are the lead investigating officer. That's what you told the court. Your rank, you are the captain. You called these people for interview. You are seeing somebody whom you called is injured. Is telling you is having a problem. You just leave without starting the problem.
U is die kaptein, u is die persoon die leier van die onderhoud en u sien hierdie persoon het 'n probleem met die oog op die oog opgeswel en u doen niks van dit nie.
Ja, was so getuige, die oog was net onderkant geswel en 'n bietjie blauw.
My lawyers have testified the eye was just one at the bottom and it was blue.
Let's go back to the second office.
Laat ons nou teruggaan na die tweede kantoor toe.
Mr. Stevino is in the second office. Mr. Apollos is being hanged.
Can you please repeat the last part, ma'am?
Hanged. He was hanging.
Stevino is in die tweede kantoor, meneer Apollos was gehang.
Can you dispute this?
Kan u dit ontken?
Daar het niks van dit in my teenwoordigheid plaasgevind.
None of that happened in my presence.
And you've testified that your presence was minimal. Somebody who played a major role was Sergeant Forte.
U sê dat u se rol was baie min geweest, maar die persoon het 'n groter rol gespeel het as Sergeant Fortuin.
Dat is correct. Met die
That's-
tijdens je onderhouden.
That's correct during the interviews.
It didn't happen in your presence. It might have happened during the time you were not there. Is that correct?
Is dit korrek so dat dit het gebeur tydens u daar was nie, maar dit het gebeur tydens u nie daar was nie.
Eerder soos ek al sê, dat is altijd een moontlikheid dat iets kon gebeur het.
As I've said, there's a possibility that something could have happened.
Maar ek het ook genoem dat die tye wat ek opgekom het, het ek nie gesien dat enige een van hulle daai gesig of eintlik gehad het lyk of waar iets gebeur het saam met hulle, behalwe dat hulle net nervous gelyk het soos in die begin van die onderhoud van die aand nie.
As I've mentioned that, my lord, that is the police something could have happened or not, but there was also mentioned that when I came up or when I went to the places where we were of the interviews, there was nothing to seem like they were being assaulted. The only thing that I could have noticed that they were nervous.
On his arrival on this second room or second office, he was instructed to take off his sweater and to take off his shoes, training shoes.
Die tyd wat hy by die tweede kantoor gekom het, hy het gesê hy moes die sweater uittrek en sy skoene.
Het lag met sy aankoms in die tweede kantoor was ek daar en dit het nie gebeur nie.
When he arrived at the second office, I was present there. That did not take place.
Oh, you agree that there was a second office?
So he said, yeah, stem saam dat daar was tweede kantoor.
Het lag maar in hoof het ek gesê dat hy was gevat uit die boardroom uit na die kantoor toe.
My lord, in my evidence in chief, I mentioned that he was taken out of the boardroom and taken to the office.
After he was instructed to take off his sweater and to take off his training shoes, he was instructed to lie down on his back.
Nadat hy was gesê dat hy moes sy sweater uittrek en sy training shoes uit te trek. Hy was skoene, hy was gesê dat hy hom op sy rug lê.
Dat dit nie gebeur in my teenwoordigheid nie.
That did not happen in my presence.
When did you leave the second room?
Wanneer het u die tweede kantoor uitgeloop?
Ek was in totaal so 15, 20 minute nadat ons uit die boardroom uitgekom het, as ek toe af na die FCS gebou toe.
About 15 or 20 minutes after we left the boardroom, I went to the FCS offices.
So whatever happened after you left the second room, you cannot dispute or confirm it.
Wat gebeur in die kantoor nadat u uitgeloop het? U kan nie niks hoor of kommentaar onder van dit nie.
Ek kan niks sê daaroor nie.
I can't say anything about that.
After he was instructed to lie down on his back,
Nadat hy was gesê dat hy moet op sy rug lê,
he was instructed to pull his knees towards his chest
hy was dan gesê dat hy moet sy knieë na sy bors te trek.
There's one thing I'm forgetting here. Before he was told to take off his shirt, they took off the handcuffs for him to be able to take off the shirt, the t-shirt.
Voordat hy was gesê moet sy hemp uittrek, hulle het hom losgemaak van die ander boy, sodat hy kan sy hemp uittrek, of die hemp uittrek.
Soos getuig het in hoof en tydens kruisondervraging met onder meneer Harmse.
As I've testified in evidence in chief and during the cross-examination of Mr. Harmse,
Het ek genoem dat nie een van hulle het boeie aangehad terwyl hulle in die boardroom gewees het nie.
I mentioned that none of them had handcuffs whilst they were in the room,
The boardroom.
boardroom.
I don't want to take you back to what you said. Your last, on that same question, your last answer was, I am not sure.
Ek wil nou nie vir u terugneem na die sy antwoorde. U het gesê ek is nie seker nie.
Want ek het gesê, hoekom ek so geseerd was, want ek kon nie sien dat hulle in boeie gewees het, die van hulle gesit die hele tyd.
The reason I said that I couldn't see or see them in handcuffs, hence I said that.
Toe sê meneer Harmse dat ja, sy kliënt sê hulle was nie in boeie gewees nie.
And Mr. Harmse said that his client is saying that they were not in handcuffs.
I put this question to you regarding my client again. My client instructs me that when he arrived at sea border offices, he was handcuffed.
Ek stel hierdie vraag van my cliënt. My cliënt sê dat die tyd wat hy by die seebode kantore gekom het, hy was aan 'n ander boot gewees.
Ek het geen kommentaar want ek het nie dit gesien nie.
I have no comment on that, my lord, because I did not see that.
And that you haven't seen it, you cannot dispute or confirm it.
Want u dit nie gesien nie, u kan nie oor dit sê nee, dit het gebeur of dit het gebeur.
Dit is reg gedagbaar.
That's correct, my lord.
He was instructed to pull his knees towards his chest,
Hy was gesê dat hy moet sy knie na sy bors toe trek.
and now he was in the sitting position.
Hy was nou in 'n sittende posisie.
While on the sitting position, he was further instructed to pull his arms in front of his knees.
Tydens die sittende posisie was dan gesê dat hy moet sy arms voor aan sy knie toe trek.
Can you dispute this?
Kan u dit ontken?
Ek het nie dit gesien nie, so ek het geen kommentaar op dit nie.
I did not see that, so I have no comment.
While his arms were in front of his knees, he was handcuffed.
Die tyd sy hande was voor sy knie gewees, hy was dan geboei.
In a way, his arms were locking his knees.
In ander woorde, sy arms het sy knie gelok.
Under his knees, just below his arms,
onder sy knie, net onder sy arms,
a steel rod was inserted.
'n ysterpyp wat in daar gesit.
Now this steel rod was put on two chairs, on the left side and on the right side.
Nou hierdie ysterpyp wat op die regter, daar was 'n stoel gewees op die regterkant en op die linkerkant.
And he was hanging in between.
Hy was uitgehang intussen.
Any comment to this arrangement?
Enige kommentaar oor wat ek het nou gesê het of verduidelikheid?
Geen kommentaar van ek was nie daar nie. En ek het dit ook nie gesien gebeur nie.
No comment, I was not there and I did not see that happening.
As if that was not enough, he was covered with plastic
Dit was nie genoeg nie, dit was toegemaak met plastiek
over his head.
oor sy kop.
He couldn't see.
Ek kon nie sien nie.
Maybe the purpose of this plastic is for him not to identify the perpetrators.
As in die rede vir daardie plastiek sodat ek kan nie die mense uitwys nie of sien nie.
Plastic. His forearm, while hanging hopelessly in this rod, his forearm was pushed and he will swing.
Die tyd was so gehang het in die manier wat nou van duidelik was in ons, is sy voorarm en hy was gestoot en is so gespin, gedraai.
Just want to get on record with the demonstration. It's like spinning around the rod.
Ek word so graag weg. Dankie.
Thank you for that explanation, my lord.
Do you have any comment?
Geen kommentaar in Abba. Ek het dit nie gesien gebeur nie.
No comment on that, my lord. I did not see that happening.
Yes.
These police officers who were in this room, there are about 6 to 7, 5 to 7. They started beating him on his feet, on his knees, on his legs.
Die polisiebeampte van 6 tot 7 of van 5 tot 6 hulle het begin om hom te slaan op sy arms, sy knie en sy bene.
Geen kommentaar. Ek het dit nie gesien nie.
No comment, I did not see that.
He was beaten,
Hy was aangeraan,
he was suffocating,
hulle het hom gesuffokeer,
he was hung. He was hanging.
uitgehang.
Geen kommentaar. Ek het dit nie gesien nie.
No comment, my lord, I didn't see that. Sorry, my lord, the Afrikaans for word suffocating was versoor.
Before the plastic, before he was covered, before his head was covered by the plastic, he was told, if you want to speak, you will scream, we'll take off the plastic.
Hy sê dat voordat die tyd wat die plastiek op sy kop gesit was, hy was gesê dat as jy wil praat, jy moet skree, dan gaan ons die plastiek afhaal.
Ek het geen kommentaar.
No comment.
This torture continued for about 4 hours.
En hierdie ding van hom aanrandry, dit aangegaan so omtrent so 4 ure.
For him to be able to breathe, he would bite the plastic.
Om kan asem uithaal en die plastiek gepyp.
And immediately they will add 2 more plastics.
En net na dit dan voeg hulle by 2 plastieke.
Ek het geen kommentaar. Ek was nie daar nie. Ek het nie dit gesien gebeur nie.
No comment, I was not there, I did not see that occur or happening.
Can you explain that to me, Captain? You called for these interviews. You are the lead investigator. How come for 4 hours in your jurisdiction, in your offices, people are being tortured? You don't see this? How is that possible?
Hoe kan dit gebeur, kaptein? U is die persoon wat die leier is van hierdie onderhoude en u het die mense geroep vir die onderhoud. Hoe kan dit wees dat hierdie ding gebeur in daardie kantore of in daardie plek vir 4 ure en u weet niks van dit nie?
Dit agbare, soos ek getuig het, ek het nie gesien
My lord, as I have explained,
dat enige een van Boeta, Kelly, Stefano aangerand gewees het op enige manier nie.
that any of Kelly, Stefano and Buddha, that they were assaulted in any kind of way.
En soos ek ook gesê het dat ek hulle die kantore besoek het,
As I've said that I went or visited these offices,
en daar is geen teken dat enigiets soos dit kon plaasgevind.
and there was no sign that any of that took place.
En dit het ek opgelet as gevolg van hoe ek vir Boeta en vir Stefano gekry het in die kantore.
I noticed that reason being is how I found Buddha and Stefano in the offices.
Hulle het steeds net senuweeagtig gelyk met my besoeke.
They just looked nervous when I visited or when I went to these offices.
Hulle het nie gelyk soos mense wat uit 'n geveg het gekom het nie.
They did not look like people that came from war.
Daar was geen gesigsuitdrukkings van iemand wat bang is of wat onder ewige duress geplaas gewees het nie.
There was nothing a sign on their faces that the people that have been assaulted or under threats.
Thank you. If you've noticed all what you are saying you didn't notice, were you going to be able to tell the court that on that day I've seen Mr. Apollis, he was hanging, I've seen Mr. Stevino, he was hanging, I've witnessed torturing. If you've witnessed this, were you going to come and tell the court, indeed I've witnessed this?
As u dit waargeneem het of gesien het dit gebeur, soos nou verduidelik om Stevino het gehang, meneer Apollos het gehang of die ander het gebeur, sou u dit genoem het in die hof?
Dis nie reg uitlegbaar.
Can you repeat that?
Dis korrek, ek sou gesê dit.
Correct, my lord, I was going to say that.
It was so unfortunate that you didn't witness this, because if you witnessed it, we were going to come and tell the court.
Het is so ongelukkig dat u dit nie waargeneem nie. As dit u waargeneem het, u sou dit hof vertel het.
Dis korrek.
That's correct.
And while hanging, being tortured, he was reminded repeatedly that we've got information that you are implicated in the disappearance of Joshlin.
Die twee wat het daar gehang en aangeraan of so geadel, het dit wywers gesê dat ons het informasie dat u weet van die verdwyning van Joshlin.
Geen kommentaar uitlegbaar.
No comments, my lord.
My lord, my exhibit, I was thinking it is in this file, it is in the other file, my J88. Can I quickly? Thank you, my lord.
Middelagbare,
My lord,
in die tyd kan ek gewoon net 'n tablet neem, ek het 'n ooginfeksie net. Sorry, dankie. Dankie, middelagbare.
thank you, my lord.
Thank you, my lord.
Do we have copies of that
don't have copies, my lord.
If the A number, it will make it easy for the state to find it.
It's 822, my lord.
Are you going to hand it up? Because then I can get it now. That will be double C, C.
That's the original one.
So I'm just going to identify it for the record. It's J88 accompanied by the document SAPS 308 marked A22. That's the cover sheet. It has the name of Stephen van Rijn, S-T-E-V-N van Rijn, as the patient. And thereafter follows the J88. It has 6 pages. And it seems to be an examination done by a Dr. Hendrik Jacobus Nel at Vredenburg Hospital. Date stamped on the 5th of March, and the examination is indicated to have taken place, or the completion of the J88 was at 9:10 in the morning. Yes, thank you, Ms. Nkabai. Do you have a copy, Captain?
Dis vir dit ook.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nkabai.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Lombard, was it brought to your attention that my client was, in the morning of the 5th of March 2024, taken to Vredenburg Provincial Hospital?
Nou, dit was het onder eerste ondergeneem dat ze aandacht gebring dat mijn cliënt was naar een hospitaal toegenomen op die 5 van maart, jaar 2024 ochtend.
Dis vir ek wil agter en die rede vir dit was die voor mediese ondersoek voor die verklaring geneem gewees het.
That's correct, my lord. The reason for that, it was before the interview or the investigation for the statement to be taken.
As ook na die verklaring word die verdagte weer geneem na die hospitaal toe vir post-medical examination.
And also, my lord, after the interview or after the statement was taken, the suspect was taken again to be examined.
Mr. Lombard, do you know why my client was taken to Vredenburg Provincial Hospital on the 5th of March?
Weet met Lombard, hoekom was my cliënt na die 5de maart maand laas jaar na die provinsiale hospitaal toegeneem?
En agter ek het nou net 'n vraag beantwoord.
My lord, I just answered the question now.
So this one, so I take it there will be 2 J88s
Dis korrek ek wil
for that
agter.
day.
Dis korrek.
Yes, my lord, that's correct.
So do you know whether this was the pre-statement J88 or the post-statement J88?
Hierdie een was voordat die persoon uit die verklaring geneem het of na die verklaring gedoen het.
Dis 'n pre-medical examination.
That was before.
So if I understand the evidence correctly, this examination was specifically linked to a statement to be taken.
Dis geen rekening lag maar.
That's correct, my lord.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kabai.
My Lord, I didn't hear Mr. Lombard's answer to my question. If you can please repeat whether he knew why my client was taken to Vredenburg.
He testified, Mr. Kabai, that before the statement is taken, there's a pre-statement taking medical examination. So that was this one. And then after the statement was taken, there would have been another examination. That's called the post-statement.
I put to
So
you.
that was the purpose.
That was the purpose. Okay. I put to you, Mr. Lombard. The purpose of my client's medical examination on that day, it was due to the injuries he sustained while he was being tortured by your members
Ek stel dit in
in your
e-mail-
presence.
Ek stel dit in e-mail Lombard. Die rede wat my kliënt wat hospitaal toe geneem vir mediese ondersoek is verwant van die aanranding en die beserings wat opgedoen het tydens wat hy aangerand was deur isolede in u se teenwoordigheid.
Maar dit is nie korrek wat Ms. Kabai daar sê nie.
My lord, it's not correct what Ms. Mkabayi is saying.
Die neem van die verdagte na die hospitaal of 'n dokter voorverklaring is deel van die proses as 'n verklaring gevat word by 'n verdagte.
My lord, the reason for a suspect to be taken for medical examination before a statement is taken is part of the process.
En dis hoekom na die afneem van die verklaring die verdagte gaan weer na die hospitaal toe vir 'n post-medical examination.
And that's the reason after the suspect have given a statement, the suspect is taken again to to be medically examined, my lord.
I don't have a problem with your processes, what you do after taking suspect's statement. I don't have a problem with that. And that is not my question.
Ek het geen probleem hoe u die prosedure doen nie of die proses die persoon geneem was, maar dit was nie my vraag nie.
Ek het die vraag geantwoord eerlik.
I answered the question, my lord.
Ek gesê wat u aan my gestel het is nie waar nie.
I say that what you stated or what you mentioned to me, it's not true.
If it's not true,
Do I understand this statement correctly, Ms. Nkabai? I just want to check that you put it to the witness the purpose of this examination was it to note the injuries that he sustained during the torture?
that's what I've said, my lord. The reason why my client was taken to Vredenburg Provisional Hospital, it was not, it didn't have anything to do with the processes, with their processes. It has one thing to do, injuries sustained by my client during torture on the night of the 4th until the morning of the 5th.
So that was the purpose of the examination. That's what you put.
Yes, that's what I'm putting to the witness.
Wat ek aan u sê op myself so sê is dat die rede wat my kliënt na die provinsiale hospitaal toe geneem is van die beserings wat hy gekry het of opgedoen het tydens die onderhoud of was aangeraan. Dis die rede. Nie hoe die prosedure gedoen word of hoe die prosedure moet gedoen word nie.
Eerlik, soos ek verduidelik het,
My lord, as I explained,
die pre-examination en die post-examination as deel van die proses
the
as daar verklaring geneem word van 'n verdagte.
My lord, as I've explained, the pre and post examination it's done when the suspect a statement is taken from a suspect.
Can you go, can you go to the page where there are marks for the injuries to these diagrams?
Kan u na die bladsy gaan waar die besering genotuleer is?
When I look at those injuries, it's page 6. When I look at them, I'm sorry. When I look at those injuries, as page 6, they correspond with the manner in which my client was tortured and beaten.
As ek na die posering skryf op kyk op bladsy 6 van die jaar 88 nie, dit is lopend met hoe hy verduidelik hoe was hy aangeraan.
Ik wil echt als ik kijk, is het bladsy 6? Ja, bladsy 6. Ik zie dat, ik denk het is een soft tissue injury op zijn boararms is.
My lord, as you can see that
Excuse toch eens, hier waar die arm zijn mak is net nadat volgens de foto's. Zijn voorarm.
my lord, when I look at this diagram on page 6, by his forearms, where his arms is folded, my lord,
Als ik bij beide knieën van hem het.
and I look at both of his knees,
Als ik geluisterd heb naar mijn misgebij, wat gezegd dat haar cliënt het gehangen,
and as to say, listen to what Ms. Mkabai have said, that her client was hanging,
en toen hij gehangen het, was hij aan een vastgeboeid geweest.
and whilst he was hanging, he was handcuffed.
So dit beteken dat die hand, dat die boeien hier bij zijn gewrichten moest geweest het.
So, which means that the handcuffs to be by his wrist, my lord, as the witness is indicating.
En dat zijn body mass moest om afgetrekt het.
His body mass was going to pull him down.
Wat dan merken zou gelost het bij zijn gewrichten.
Then marks was going to be left behind on his wrists.
En dat is duidelijk van die JT8.
It's clear that on the J88,
Dat is geen zulke merken nie.
there's no such marks.
Van die handboeien wat de politie heeft is baie dun.
Because the handcuffs that the police have is very thin.
On that point, I'm
My
so-
lord, the accused number 2 is drawing the attention of the attorney, my lord.
Can I turn my back, my lord? Thank you, my lord. J88 of my client will be in this manner or in any manner. Why? Because when he was taken for medical examination, he was told by those police officers who were accompanying him that you don't tell the doctor what happened. He didn't show the doctor the marks you are talking about because he was warned that you don't tell the doctor your injuries.
Die rede my cliënt sê jy 88 is so of as dit is in daardie manier is want hy sê dat op my instruksies aan my is dat hy was gesê die polisie wat hom verstel het of hom na die dokter toe geneem het of na die hospitaal toe geneem het dat jy moenie eers 'n boer sê nie wat plaasgevind het nie. Dis die rede waar hy nie die dokter daardie merk gewys het op sy gewrig.
Ik wil achter my ondervinding
My lord, with my experience
so besoek.
with such visits,
Van ik het altijd gedaan met anders waar verklaringen geneem geweest van andere verdachtes en andere zaken waar ik van hen naar die hospitalen toe geneem had.
it had happened that with other suspects where I've taken them to the hospital for medical observation, my lord, where statement had to be taken.
Die dokter vul die gedeelte in
The doctor fills in this part
op wat die dokter observeert
on what the doctor had noticed, observed
op die persoon se liggaam.
on the person's body.
As ook die dokter vra ook as daar enige beserings wat aan die dokter wil sê en die dokter sal daarna kyk.
Kan u weer herhaal asseblief?
In daai proses die dokter vra ook aan die persoon
In that process, the doctor will also ask the person,
of die persoon enige beserings het waar hy die dokter wil inlig oor.
and if the person has any other injuries, my lord.
Wat ek nou nie verstaan van Ms. Kabaye is dat sy noem dat die rede hoekom daai tipe besering nie op die J88 aangebring is nie.
Now what I don't understand from what Mr. Kabai is saying, that the reason why those injuries are not there
Is omdat meneer Van Ryn gedreig gewees het om nie vir die dokter te sê van dit nie.
and that Mr. Van Ryn was threatened not to inform or tell the doctor about them.
Eerlik,
My lord,
die beserings op sy voorarm hierso.
the injuries on his forearm, as the witness is indicating, with his left hand on his right arm, my
So
lord.
dit is vir enige persoon moontlik om te sien of daar beserings is hier ook. Van jou arm moet kaal wees om dit te sien.
And for those injuries to be seen on the forearm, my lord, the arm will be naked, it will be open, so the injuries on the wrist will also be visible.
So die storie wat meneer Van Ryn skep dat hy moes nie die dokter gesê het nie, die dokter sou dit gesien het.
The story that Mr. Van Ryn, or the picture that Mr. Van Ryn is painting, the doctor was going to see that whether he didn't tell him.
En die dokter sal dit sodoende gemerk het op die J88.
And the doctor was going to mark it accordingly on the J88.
Thank you. Let's go back to the diagram. Let's go back to the diagram.
Laat ons teruggaan na die diagram.
Do you see where the injuries are marked?
Kan u sien waar die beserings genotuleer?
On the elbows.
Ekskuus tog?
On the elbows. On the arms.
Daar by die voorarms,
Dis
Both arms.
beide arms.
It's marked on the forearm just below the elbow.
dis nie reg uitleg by.
That's correct, my lord.
I put instruction to you that my client's arms, they were pulled in front and he was handcuffed.
Ek het dit aan u gestel dat my kliënt se arms was vorentoe getrek en hy was geboei.
And they were pulled for 4 hours or more than 4 hours.
Hulle was getrek vir 4 ure of meer as 4 ure.
Dis reg.
In the manner in which they were pulled,
En die manier hoe hulle was getrek.
the injuries that are being marked there, they correspond.
Die beserings wat hier is, dit is samelopend die verduideliking hoe hy was aangegaan hoe hy gaan.
Because he had pressure here. When he was pulled, he had pressure.
Hy het druk gehad, as sy voorarm soos die progreer aandui.
Ja. Dis reg uitleg.
That's correct, my lord.
What is the
My
point?
lord, sorry, accused number 2 is drawing the attention of the attorney, my lord.
Can I turn my back my
Mr. Kabai, maybe you should give him pen and paper. The other time when we offered it, he refused it. But I'm not comfortable with this back and forth all the time. So I think
Give him a piece of paper and a pen.
Thank you, my
I'm
lord.
not talking to you, Mr. Van Ryn. I'm talking to your lawyer.
He is being
Give him a pen and paper, and then he can note all the issues as we go along. And after we get to a point, we'll take the adjournment, and then he can give you
take
instructions.
Thank you, my lord.
Otherwise, we're going to go back and forth all the time. I asked him the last time whether he could write, and he said yes, but he didn't want paper and a pen.
He is becoming emotional as this, the torture is taking place now.
No, I understand, but it's become disruptive, so let's try and manage it.
My Lord, I was thinking to ask the court. Oh, okay, it's fine.
No, maybe ask your questions about the J88, and if there's going to be questions about the other J88, the second one, you complete the basic questions around that, and then I'll take the adjournment, because then you can consult with Mr. Van Rijn.
I didn't get the last answer to my question. Sorry, my Lord.
Ek het nie die antwoord gekry nie op my laaste vraag.
Kan u die vraag herhalen, alsjeblieft?
Can you please repeat that?
The injuries that are being shown on the elbows, they correspond with the pulling of my client's arm for 4 hours or more.
Die beserings wat verwys is op die jaar 88, waar die elleboog van my kliënt is, dit loop saam, of dit is saam met die, wat die verduidelik wat hy gegee het, hoe was hy aangerand gewees en hoe was getrek gewees vir 4 ure of meer as 4 ure.
Heel achtbare, ik zou verwachten dat die beserings op zijn arms lager moest geweest het. Omdat hij zo gezet het en gehangen op zijn knieën. Van dan, als ik nou mezelf in mij zin zo zit in die knieën, dan verwacht ik dat die inzicht meer af en na dan gewrug of bij die gewrug geweest het.
My Lord, I was going to accepting that, or going to imagining that the injuries was going to the witness shows more on the wrist, on the lower parts, when I'm seated, my Lord, and because his knees was pulled up.
We've dealt with it in governments. That's possible. Remember, Mr. Tobias has explained
How the wrists are cuffed in front, then the arms are pulled over the knees, and then of course the rod being put through. So 2 things will happen with the spinning, or possible, I don't know, I'm not a medical doctor. One, there will be pressure of the rod on the posterior side of the knees. So that would be illustrated if one look at the sketch where the marks are, the one to the right thereof. Now there are no marks there, but of course we don't know the mechanics. It's been explained. The marks on the arms, those arms would have been over the knees, the hands would be over the knees, and the rod would either be in the elbow on the inside or could be there.
Yes, heel achtbare.
And or there could be pressure onto the legs on those spots. So with all that Mr. Nkabai said, these injuries, and we're only dealing with the forearm injuries now, can be consistent with what he describes. That's all he says.
Soos u verduidelik, dan stem ek saam met u.
How the court explained now, I agree with that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nkabai.
The injuries on the knees,
En die beserings op die knie?
Ek het geen
Also-
kommentaar op dit nie.
No comment.
thank you. My Lord, at this juncture, I will humble us for an adjournment because my client was showing me something before I close this J88.
Okay, do you want to It's 12:41. Do you want to take the lunch and adjournment now? And we'll take it till 1:15.
Let's take the lunch, then we come quarter to 2.
Let's take the adjournment till 1:30. It'll give us sufficient time for the consultations for people that want to have lunch. I might excuse my registrar for the afternoon session. She's unwell, but I will make the necessary arrangements between the two other colleagues to take a seat on this side to assist with the admin. Have you spoken to your clients about the change of place of detention? Not yet.
Yes, my lord. In the morning, while I was consulting with him, he told me about the removal from Mamelsbury.
So, warrant officer, I'm simply asking this now because I want to do the warrants before Ms. Naidu Chetty goes back to the hotel. For this afternoon, still the same, and from tomorrow we might do the switch. Good. So I'm going to do the warrants in any event for Malmesbury for this afternoon. We're contemplating doing a switch as from tomorrow for the place of detention. I was told by the police that the place that they had in mind might not be suitable, so they were looking for a suitable accommodation closer, so that we can be more efficient with our time in the mornings and in the afternoons. So thank you. I shall see you at 1:30. 1:30. Court adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ke maka go na le dust mo motsong. So ke ntho jwalo. But I'm okay. Ya no le ke khohlela yona no. But you're right. 100%. 100%. You're right. She's sick now. Not me. I was sick last week. I was sick last week.
client instructs me that before he was given a lift by the police officers, he had no injuries.
Geen commentaar, meneer Agbaré.
No comment.
He further instructs me that before the alleged interviews took place, he had no injuries.
Hy noem aan my dat ook voor die sogenoemde onderhoud het geen beserings gehad nie.
Geen commentaar, meneer Agbaré.
No comment.
My client further instructs me that the injuries he sustained, it is not because he has fallen from the police buggy.
My cliënt sê instruksies verder is dat die besering was hy het opgedoen op wat hy het, is nie van dat hy het geval van die van af nie.
Any comment to that?
Wat is u se kommentaar op dit?
Ik heb geen commentaar, want ik heb niet gezien wat gebeurd het, nee. Maar waar hij zeer gekregen het, nee.
I have no comment, my lord, because I did not see where he got the injuries from.
Further instructs me that any evidence you've obtained from him, it was obtained unconstitutional.
Hy sê dat enige iets of enige informasie wat u van hom het gekry het, wat dit was nie reg gedoen nie.
Meneer Agbaré, ons het, soos ik zei, hij heeft aanleiding gegeven dat hij wil die verklaring doen, afgeven.
My lord, as I've explained, he said that he wants to give a statement or he wanted to talk.
Als hij gezegd het nee, zou die verklaring, de afneming van die verklaring nooit plaatsgevonden het, nee.
And if he indicated no, and that statement was not going to take place.
Further instructs me, sorry. And I will argue that the statement that is deemed to be a confession, I will argue that it's not a confession on the following grounds.
Ek sou ook argumenteer dat die verklaring was sogenoemde verklaring of 'n bekentenis, dit is 'n bekentenis op volgende gronde.
Number one,
Eerstens,
my client was unduly influenced. Whatever he told you, it was recited for him to say it.
wat my kliënt gesê het, dit was nie van homself af, hy was gesê of voorgesê wat om te sê.
Meneer Agbaré, die cliënt was niet beïnvloed, nee.
My lord, your client was not influenced.
En die inlichting wat hij aan ons gegeven het, het van hemzelf gekomen.
The information that he gave us, came from him.
Second ground is that he's not the author
Dat-
of the statement.
En hy is nie die persoon wat die verklaring gegee het nie.
Hij het wat neergeskryf is in die verklaring is wat hij gezegd heeft.
Can you please repeat that, sir?
Dat wat die officier neergeskryf het in die verklaring, is sy eie woorde en sy storie.
What is contained or what is written in the statement came from him.
Third ground, that whatever is contained in the statement, he didn't give it freely and voluntarily.
Enigiets wat daar op die verklaring staan, hy het dit vrywillig gegee nie, op sy eie wil nie.
Lagbaar is soos ek gesê het voorheen,
My lord, as I've said previously,
Stefano het die geleentheid gehad om nie die verklaring af te gee nie.
Stefano had an opportunity not to give the statement.
Toe ek hom vra van die verklaring, het hy ingestem, ja, hy gaan dit doen.
When I asked him about it, he confirmed and he said yes, he will do it.
Hy het ook die ander geleenthede gehad waar die offisier wat die verklaring afgeneem het om vir hulle ook in te lig dat hy dit nie wil doen nie.
Can you please repeat the first part, sir?
Tydens die afneem van die verklaring
The time of the statement being taken down,
het hy 'n geleentheid gehad om vir daai spesifieke offisier te sê hy wil dit nie hy wil nie 'n verklaring afgee nie.
he also had the opportunity to tell or to inform that officer that he doesn't want to give a statement.
En hy het weer die keuse gemaak en gesê en voort te gaan om die verklaring af te gee.
And he made a choice of giving the statement.
My client further instructs me that he was not under sober senses nor sound mind.
My cliënt sê dat hy was nie in sy volle positiewe nie.
En ergens wat ek van hom laaste gesien het, toe lyk hy baie positiewe senses.
My lord, when I saw him, he was to his full and sober senses.
Not unless the court wants me to address the court in anything, otherwise I don't have any further questions for this witness.
Ms. Swanepoel, any re-examination?
My Lord, only on two aspects. Captain, if at any stage during this night, early morning hours on the 4th and the 5th of March, if at any stage you were informed or saw or realized that any of assault or torture, as explained, had taken place, what would you have done?
Af nee, tot die 5de toe, as u gesien het op waar geneem dat hierdie aanranding het gebeur, wat sou u gedoen het?
Ek sou dit onmiddellik gestop het, die onderhoude,
I was going to stop the interviews immediately,
en dan sou ek dit onmiddellik aan Brigadier Nana gerapporteer het.
and I was going to report it immediately to Brigadier Hanana.
And would the rest of the process that followed, in other words, the obtaining of the statements and the pointings out, would that have happened?
So laat ons nou sê van die verneem van die verklarings en die uitwysing, sal dit voorgegaan het of gebeur het?
Nederlagbare.
No, my lord.
Then you were specifically asked with regards to accused number 2, why you only later on, after it was said that he wanted to tell the truth, and when you asked him that question, then only you warned him of his constitutional rights. If he had, at any stage prior to that, started by incriminating himself, what would you have done?
U was gevra dat, u sê dat hy vir hom gevra wat het gebeur, eers agterna, u het vir hom sy reg verduidelik. As hy vir hom miskien vir homself voor dit, impliseer het in hierdie ding, wat soos gebeur het.
Ek sou vir hom by daardie moment gewaarsku het van sy regte.
Sê net harder.
Ek sou met die vroeë geleentheid, as dit so vroeg moes gekom het, sou ek hom gewaarsku het van sy regte onmiddellik.
If I came there early or was there earlier, my lord, I was going to warn him or explain his rights.
Do I understand you immediately, once you establish that you will warn him of his rights?
Dis reg, Edelagbare.
That's correct, my lord.
Those were the two aspects. Thank you, my lord.
It's actually three.
Thank you, Ms. Swanepoel. Thank you, Captain Lombard. You may be excused.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
purposes of the trial within the trial, you will surely come back later, I suspect, in the main trial.
Dis reg, Edelagbare.
Thank you.
Okay.
May I call the next witness?
Read the rest of to the evidence with regards to the trial within a trial. So may we please be allowed to just
Certainly,
swap
yeah.
around?
My lord, sorry, my lord. My colleague said he would like to start the new witness as well, my lord.
Certainly. Brigadier Hanana. My lord, he's been called. Please, it's my face. That's fine. My lord, whilst we're waiting for Brigadier Hanana to arrive, he is witness number 47 on the list of state witnesses, and for the orientation of my learned friends, he is A178 in the docket.
My apologies, my lord. I just had that repeated what my learned colleague now said when she referred to, I think, statements.
It's witness number 47 on the list of witnesses, and the statement in the police docket would be A178.
Thank you, my lord.
178.
My apologies, my lord. I know Brigadier Hanana is here. He has been in attendance for the past 2 days. I'm not sure where he is now. He's been called. Indeed, that is correct.
Good afternoon. May I have your full names for the record, please?
My name is Leon. The surname is Hanana.
Leon Hanana.
Mr. Hanana, do you have any objection in taking the oath?
Meneer Hanana het enige beswaar teen
I do not have
voorlegging
any objections.
none whatsoever, my lord.
You will then swear the evidence you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
It will be the
So
truth.
help me God.
So help me God.
Sweer
Thank
dat
you.
die
You may
getuienis
have
wat
a
u
seat.
gaat aflê dat dit die waarheid sal wees.
Thank you.
Niks
my lord.
anders is die waarheid nie. Slegs die waarheid en voor die regterhand is so help my God.
Court, for how many years have you been in the service?
Brigadier Hanana sê asseblief vir die hof hoeveel jaar is hy in diens?
My Lord, I have 37 years of service in the South African Police Services.
U edelik het 37 jaar diens in Suid-Afrikaanse polisie.
Can you very briefly explain to the court what that service was, where you started to where you are now?
Kortliks vertel asseblief kortliks vir die hof wat behels die dienste wat u begin het tot op hede.
My Lord, I was in the uniform branch in 1988,
U edelik, ek was in uniform taak jaar 1988
for 6 months.
vir 6 maande.
And then I joined different specialized detective branches and
Daar-
specialized units.
Daarna het ek verskillende spesiale speurtakes en speurtak aangesluit.
But for the 36 years, I was a detective,
Maar vir die 36 jaar was ek as speurder.
and 8 of that 37 years, I was working as a criminalistic expert.
Van daardie 36 jaar het ek gewerk as 'n kriminele deskundige
And I am still a detective.
tot op hede. is ek nog steeds 'n sweder.
You currently hold the rank of brigadier, correct?
Heidaglik beklee u die rang van 'n brigadier reg.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Korrek, edele.
And you are appointed as the provincial head of the Serious and Violent Crime Investigation Unit.
En u is aangestel as die
That's correct,
herhaal asseblief.
Your Worship.
Is it further correct, Brigadier, that Captain Lombard falls under your command?
Is dit nie korrek dat kaptein Lombard, u is kaptein Lombard se bevelvoerder?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Korrek, my lord.
Please tell the Honourable Court how it is that you came to be involved in this case.
Sê asseblief vir hierdie agbare hof, hoe het u in hierdie saak betrokke geraak?
My Lord, from the 19th of February 2024,
U edele vanaf die 19de Februarie die jaar 2024,
there was news, articles and different media houses were reporting on a child in Saldanha that is or was missing.
was daar verskeie berigte en nuusberigte, verskillende pershuise wat nou dan berig gewees het oor 'n vermiste kind.
A part of my responsibility
Deel van my verantwoordelikheid
on provincial level
op 'n provinsiale vlak
is to attend to newsworthy incidents.
is om na die nuuswaardige voorvalle by te woon of aandag te skenk op nuuswaardige
My Lord, then from the provincial level, I'm working, as the advocates say, in serious and violent crimes, and
op 'n
that
provinsiale vlak het hulle soos wat die advokaat reg gesê het, ek werk op die ernstige misdrywe
and this caught immediately our attention on provincial level.
en hierdie voorval het dan onmiddellik ons aandag getrek op die provinsiale vlak.
General particular, the provincial commissioner,
Generaal Patekile, provinsiale commissaris,
as well as the detective, the deputy provincial commissioner, General Makashalala,
sowel as die adjunk commissaris Makasalala,
called me in and instructed me to give attention to this matter in Saldanha.
hulle het my ingeroep en vir my gevra om 'n aandag te skenk aan die voorval in Saldanha.
And that is how I got involved in this matter
En dis
in
dit in die
Saldanha.
saak betrokke geraak het in Saldanha.
When was the first time that you arrived in Saldanha?
Wanneer was die eerste keer wat u by Saldanha aangekom het?
My Lord, I came the 29th of February, I arrived in Saldanha.
Edele op die 29ste Februarie het ek in Saldanha aangekom.
But I have to mention it that because this incident attracted attention to the provincial level, the detectives,
Maar ek moet dit noem omdat hierdie saak of dat hierdie voorval die op aandag getrek het op die provinsiale vlak, moet ek dit noem.
prior my arrival in Saldanha,
Alvorens my aankoms te Saldanha,
I had conversations with the FCS commander, it was Captain Chetty,
het ek 'n gesprek met die FCS bevelvoerder en dit was
to get
Captain
more
Chetty.
background of what is happening and was there a docket open and to have more insight towards, but that was telephonically.
Telefonies het ek 'n gesprek gehad met hierdie commissaris ten einde vas te stel, is daar 'n dossier opgemaak wat 'n docket open en wat? 'n docket open en wat?
Where we can let the evidence flow easier. Is there anybody but for the accused that does not follow the English of the public? Nobody. Because what we can then do is to proceed with the evidence in English. We can have the interpreter sit behind the accused, as we did the other day, and then just softly interpreting into Afrikaans means the evidence can flow faster and we won't have the problem because the brigadier is speaking quite loudly, everybody can hear him, and so far, there's a lot of clarity. So between Mr. Yankees and Ms. Pulani, if one of you maybe sits behind the accused and then do the English Afrikaans as we did last week, then we don't have to translate everything into Afrikaans because the public tells me they will follow. And then the two of you can rotate. Then we just run with the English. Everybody happy with that? Mr. Adamson? Ms. Nkabai? You can just give me a thumbs up if you're happy. Mr. Sivnarain? Good. Let's do that. We'll save a lot of time, but we won't have people talking over each other because I suspect the Brigadier is going to go quite fast. Just bear with us, Brigadier. We're taking notes. My note-taking might be a bit faster than counsel, but the State Advocate will just show you to go slower if needs be. Good. Mr. Yankees, take it away. Whoever's going to go there first.
Noted, my lord.
So to the accused, ons gaan dieselfde doen as nou die dag met meneer Blau. Julle luister net. Dis twee ervare tolke hier, julle sal vir julle maklik deur die proses vat. En as julle iets nie verstaan nie, ek sal uit julle die linker oog uitvang. Sit jou hand op en dan sal ek die proses stop. Take it away, Ms. Zimmerman.
Thank you, my lord. Brigadier, you stopped at the part where you said that you had telephonic communication with Captain Chetty regarding the progress as far as the FCS was concerned. Is that correct?
That's correct, my lord. That was prior my arrival in Saldanha.
Proceed.
Then on the 29th, I came from Cape Town and to assess what is happening in Saldanha. I went into the place, into where the people stay around town, just to have a feeling of what is happening. I could see that there's a lot of animosity in the town. And there was groups of people at the police station, and then on a later the afternoon, I called a meeting between the station commander, the FCS people, and during the day, I also,
Please repeat that. You called a meeting between the FCS commander.
The station commander.
Oh, sorry, station commander, yes.
The FCS personnel. And I also, during the day, I informed Captain Lombard and his team to join me in Saldanha.
Who makes up Captain Lombard's team? Who makes up that team under Captain Lombard?
Captain Lombard's team is made up out of experienced detectives working specifically with kidnappings. It's himself, it was two warrant officers, two captains, and I think one constable. But they were a team, and this team, we utilized them mostly and specifically for kidnapping cases.
Proceed.
Then, when they arrived, they joined us in the meeting the afternoon with the station commander, the FCS, as well as members from crime intelligence, where we had a briefing session and a discussion with regards to this, the child that was missing.
station commander that you speak of is in fact Colonel Sibola, is that correct?
Colonel Sibola, that's correct.
Proceed, what happened next?
We had, from different units, we have different views and different insights to the matter. And after the meeting, I tasked Captain Lombard and the crime intelligence to gather information and to blend into the areas and help if there's searches that is still continuing, because the public were very committed towards the search and founding of Joshlin Smith.
So if I understand you correctly, there was a lot of public support in this matter.
On that stage, there was the public support towards our efforts.
Yes, proceed.
And I went to the FCS office, where I utilized an office away from the police station, and I also had meetings at the FCS building. It's on the same premise as the sea border. That place is at the sea border. I had my office based there, and then it's between 3 and 4, the team of Captain Lombard joined me at the FCS office where I was sitting.
This is now still on the 29th.
On the 29th.
Yes.
Then we had discussions with regards to the searches, with regards to how we will work, just operational things that we then had discussions about. And then that was basically what happened, your Lord, my Lord, on the 29th. And then on
Yes.
And then on the next day, there was different searches, there was different activities in the pursuit to find and to look for Joshlin Smith on that specific day.
Proceed.
That was basically what happened on the 29th, and that was the arrival of myself and Captain Lombard and his team to join up with. Then the investigation was then still in an inquiry format. Then, my Lord, some of the searches were called off, and arrangements was made. I also asked them, I remember that we said that we will sleep over, arrangements to maintain and keep the team in Saldanha was made, accommodation, all that administrational things were done. And then the Friday, if I can proceed to the next day, the Friday was also, there was different searches, there were different activities, investigations was done, where different views of different things that unfold.
Yes.
Then I remember the Saturday, the Minister of Police, I think Becky Kwele, arrived in Saldanha. But in between there was searches by the community, there were searches by the police, and then as well on the Sunday, and we had meetings, different meetings at the police station in the boardroom.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the atmosphere was absolutely to find the child that was gone.
The aim. Is that correct? The aim was
The
searching
aim,
for
the main
child.
aim was to find back the child, and I remember everyone was adamant to find the child.
Can you just pause for one moment? I've noted the evidence. Mrs. Kok, Cyrillene. Can you mute? Can you maybe mute that microphone on your side? The one where at the accused table, because we have Mr. Yankees explaining quietly to the accused in Afrikaans, but I'm just concerned, that's our own microphone. We're just going to move it away so that we don't have an interference on the main record. Apologies, you may proceed.
Thank you, my lord. Brigadier, you said that the main aim was finding the child, correct?
The main aim was to find the child, and with the searches continue, but on the Monday, the 4th, in this specific hall, we had the integrated search, which was one of the biggest ones that we had between the SAPS, the Navy, City of Cape Town, and comprising out of people from the public, like the CPF and different groups that joined us in this specific wall in the pursuit of going to do a large search in the area.
Proceed.
And there was a total of more than 150 people, cadets, police in this wall, and we coordinated the searches, different teams. We had K9, we had drones, we have every person and every instrument and that could have helped with the child was present. And around between 3 and 4, I went back to the FCS office, where I utilized the branch, the unit commander's office of the FCS. And Captain Lombard and his team joined us at the FCS building.
Proceed.
Then we were asking the detectives from the FCS unit to bring Buta, Kelly, and Stefano, because our intention was to re-interview them.
Proceed.
With regards to this matter. Then I can remember that the 2 male figures was taken up to the seaboard office.
Yes.
And Kelly was housed in the reception area of the office were in the same building that I utilize an office,
That's the FCS section.
at the FCS building.
Brigadier, did you personally have any engagement or interaction with any of the accused?
Because, yes, my lord, because of the fact that if I pass, if I goes to the office where I was sitting, I needs to pass Kelly. I had small talk, small communication, small talk with Kelly. But with the other two, I did not have any interactions with them. But with Kelly, I had small talk and greeting, how are you, but small talk. With Kelly, because I have to pass, when I come into the office, I'm passing that space where she was sitting, and then I proceed then to the office where I utilized, which I utilized.
Proceed.
Then Captain Lombard, the team of Captain Lombard, most of his investigators was at the sea border where they were interviewing the male, two males, and there was detectives, female detectives, who was with Kelly in the reception area. And as we wanted to start with our interview processes, I was made alert that there is a person with the name of Owen who wants to share certain information with the team.
Proceed.
Then I discussed with Captain Lombard. I said to him, listen, I think we need to give attention to what Owen said to us, and we need to follow that up, and that caused us to hold back with the interviews with the 3 people that we intend to interview.
Yes.
Then Owen came in, and then we interviewed him. We took Kelly out, and then we interviewed and listened to this gentleman. And I don't know if I have to divulge what he was saying to us.
Yes, you can.
He then said to us that he was working a few years back for a person that is a member of the Navy base.
Yes.
And this individual was driving a red car,
Red car.
a red vehicle.
Yes.
He then alleged that this person, who he referred to, that he was working for some time for this person, cleaning his yard and small work around the house, and this person was also a Sangoma. Then Owen further said to the team that this male person asked him for a white child. He must source a white child and bring this child to him.
Yes.
And this person have a house, and next to the house there is a mortuary. And that he is sure that if we bust that house and that mortuary, that we will most probably find the child in that mortuary.
Proceed.
My Lord, I immediately asked the team to put everything on hold so that we can test the truth and what this Owen divulged to the team,
When you say you asked him, you're referring to Captain Lombard.
to Captain Lombard and his team. That's correct.
So you instructed him to follow up on this information. What happened?
My Lord, I remained at the office, and the team went and came back and report to me that the search was negative.
Yes.
Then, after we explained to Owen that we followed up what he alleged and we couldn't find anything, we then excused him from the base, from the premise.
Before you proceed, Brigadier, we've heard evidence in this court from other witnesses that said that every possible piece of information that was received by the police was followed up. Is that correct?
Part of the strategy was, if any person say anything, we follow it up immediately. That was one of the strategies that we followed.
I interrupted you. You said you excused Owen. What happened next?
After we excused Owen, the interviews then start with the members at the sea border. The team, part of the team of Captain Lombard, interviewed the male persons, and then the female detectives was interviewing Kelly.
Do you recall who the female detectives were that interviewed Mrs. Smith?
There was three that I know that was interviewing Kelly. It was the sergeant that is in Captain Lombard's team. Surname?
There's Sergeant Johnson that we know
Sergeant
of.
Johnson, sorry. And then there was a constable from FCS.
We've heard the evidence of one constable, Sikobe.
Sikobe, I cannot remember her surname, small one. Yeah. And then there was Lieutenant Colonel, what is his surname? From Crime Intelligence that was also with the team.
I'm sure that name will come to you. Don't worry, it's fine, Brigadier.
Yeah.
Very well, proceed.
But Captain Lombard was the person between my office and the team at the sea border. And I remember even before we started with these interviews, Captain Lombard came to me and he said that I must just inform you, Brigadier, that Buta got a blue eye.
Yes, you said you were informed that Mr. Paulus had a blue eye, correct? Buddha.
Buddha.
Yes.
That Buddha got a blue eye and they pick him up from the community, and when he arrived, and it looks like he was somewhere, somehow, something happened, but I remember that Captain Lombard informed me that this person came in with a blue eye.
Brigadier, if any official, that's police official, law enforcement, crime intelligence, that was at Sea Border that night, if any assault was made on any of the accused, what would you have done?
My Lord, I am a detective in a specialized environment. We believe in outsmart a person rather than assault a person for any truth. And that is part of my briefing to the team, was that we need to gather evidence and prove our case. But the question that you ask, Advocate, if something like that happened in front of me, I would have taken steps immediately towards, I would have taken steps. Discipline or criminal, but I would have taken steps.
Against
As
that
a senior
member?
manager, I need to do that against the member who assault any person in my presence.
Yes, proceed. You said this report was
My Lord,
made
can
to-
I mention the Colonel Ellen? She was part of the interviewing of Kelly.
I told you it would come back to you.
Ellen, yeah.
Right. Yes, proceed. You said the report was made by Captain Lombard to you. What did you do in return? What did you say to him?
I asked him and said to him that we need to record any injuries. If any of these people have injuries, we need to record it. Or in a pocketbook, or in a diary, or we need to report this before we actually start with the interviewing of these people.
Proceed, yes.
Then, my Lord, during this process of interviewing, Captain Lombard then came back to me and said that because it's a strategy that we follow, a name came forward, and he said that one of the two gentlemen mentioned a name, Ayanda. Is it Ayanda? Sangoma. And we need to stop with these interviews and then get to the house of the Sangoma, Ayanda.
Brigadier. Yes.
The name that seems to have come up is actually Ayanda's sister, with the nickname of Makalima.
Makalima. I remember, yes.
Because that's not in dispute.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
No problem. Do you agree with what His Lordship has said? It was the name Makalima.
Makalima,
Yes.
Makalima. That's
Very well.
correct. Thank you, my Lord.
Yes, proceed.
I was at the base, and after an hour they went and they came back with a male, a female, and children.
Do you perhaps have any recollection of what time this was?
My Lord, that could have been between 7 and 9. More or less 7 and 9. Can be, times is not, I don't want to say it was specifically 10:05, but it was between 7 and 9.
Proceed. You said that the team returned with certain individuals.
With a male, a female, and children. Then I said to them, we need to use the trauma room to host this family. And I remember the children were playing and up and down in the passage. And we played with the children, and the mother and father was host, and on the later stage they sleep because the place was comfortable for them to sleep.
You're referring to the children.
The one, I think the daughter was sleeping, but the smaller one, he was giving pleasure to us in the building, running up and down, and keep us busy.
Entertaining you, Brigadier Halala.
Entertaining us, yes. And the interviews continue with the team continue with Kelly, the females, and the 2 males were then interviewed by the team that was at the seaboard, the 2 males.
Before we go on to those interviews, please describe to the court what was your interaction with Mrs. Smith. I know you said it was very light-hearted, very greeting, but her demeanor, how would you describe her? How did she appear to you?
My Lord, I utilize the opportunity to have discussions with Kelly with regards to where she come from, how she came in Saldanha, small talk, and with regards to the child. And she just, when you speak about the child, she was very evading. She didn't want to answer questions with regards to Joshlin.
You used the word evading.
Just one moment. Ms. Zimmerman, remember where we are. We're dealing with the trial within a trial insofar as it relates to Mr. Apollos and Mr. Van Rijn. Ms. Smith is not part of this inquiry.
Noted, my lord.
And in any event, the evidence led now is irrelevant to the inquiry that we have.
Noted, my lord.
So let's stick to the inquiry.
Noted. I'll proceed. Brigadier, please tell the court what happened with regard to the interviews that were held with Buta and Stefano.
My Lord, I was not physically present with the interviews. I got snips from Captain Lombard will come into the office and update me that we make progress or we are hitting a stop. I got my feedbacks from Captain Lombard with regards to the 2 males because I was not part of the physical interviewing process with regards to the 2 males.
And you never went up to those rooms, the boardroom and offices?
Not on that stage, my Lord. I was not with them at the seaboard office.
Proceed. What was the feedback from Captain Lombard?
And I remember that it was past 12, 1, 2, around 3 o'clock, 3, 4, Captain Lombard came to me and he said to me, Brigadier, the two gentlemen, that is Stefanos and Buddha, confess, and we need officers for the taking of the confession.
Yes, proceed.
I immediately call Colonel Clark.
Yes.
Colonel Clark is working murder and robbery on provincial level, and I called Lieutenant Colonel Pretorius because it was two males and it needs to have two different officers. The reason also for my choice with regards to the two officers was because both the two males, the two gentlemen that wants to confess, is Afrikaans speaking.
Where is Colonel Pretorius based? Do you know where Colonel Pretorius is based?
Colonel Pretorius is working also on provincial level. He's working provincial investigation unit. He's working as an ad hoc team in the serious and violent crime environment.
Yes, proceed.
Then, when they arrived in Saldanha, that was 2-3 hours, between 2-3 hours when they arrived in Saldanha. Then the arrangements start for the confessions, and while they were doing arrangements with the doctors for the two gentlemen to take them to the doctors, I also called on Colonel Volmerans from the district. He's the district detective commander here in this district. And I requested from him two things. I request him to assist with regards to additional officers that can do the pointing out, as well as officers and members that can assist with the transportation of the people, the 4 people that we currently have, the 3, Kelly, Buta, Stefanos, and Makalima. And Makalima. If they needs to be transported, they needs to be at different police stations, and I request assistance from Colonel Volmerans to assist us with regards to that as well.
What was the reason for arrangements to be made for the persons, that's now Buta and Stefano, to be taken to the doctor? What was the reason for that?
My Lord, procedure, whenever we taking confession, we take first the person to a doctor that will certify that there is injuries, and or to examine the person and see if this person have injuries on the body, and then it will be recorded before we start with the confession. And then after the confession, you need to take the person back to the doctor and to make sure that nothing happened in between. So then taking the person then back to the doctor to say the person have new injuries or that it's the same, and then a report is also compiled with regards to that.
As far as the detention of the persons concerned, do you have any recollection about where they were detained, Brigadier?
My Lord, the decision that I took was that Kelly needs to be detained in Langebaan. Stefanos and it's Makalima, the lady,
Yes, the other lady, yes.
St. Helena Bay. And then Buta, I think, was in Laiplek.
We have heard the evidence of Captain Lombard that indicated the accused 1 and 2 were detained at Saldanha.
That was prior. That was before we split them up to different police stations. They were then put at Saldanha.
Did you have any further involvement in the matter on the 4th or 5th, Brigadier?
My Lord, yes. I can remember that while Colonel Clark was busy with Stefanos, I received a call. Then he said to me, Brigadier, while I was busy obtaining the confession of Stefanos, he fell asleep. And I said to him, Colonel, it is best that you refrain and do not continue with this interview. Then I said, let's take him, let him sleep, let him sleep, take him to the police station. And then I called on Captain Sekui. And Captain Sekui came back, Colonel Clark went back, he left this part, and we utilized a different officer who do not have any information with regards to anything. And we brought Captain Sekui in, and later the day, he completed the confession of Stefanos.
Do you have, or can you tell us from where Captain Sekui comes? Do you know?
Captain Sekui is also working on provincial level. He is part of our investigations in serious and violent crimes.
And with regard to Captain Cussel, what arrangements were made with him?
I called on Captain Cussel to come and help with the pointing out. That is where Captain Cussel came in, and I think his role on a later stage was only to be a driver during the pointing out.
And I take it there was also the involvement of one Captain Cilliers. Is that correct?
I do not know.
Oh, sorry. Well, much later.
15th of
Correct.
Florentia.
That's correct, my lord. That's
So,
much later.
Yeah.
Does that conclude your involvement on those days, Brigadier?
My Lord, that is my testimony. That is what happened, and that is how far I was involved with this matter.
Did you attend court at the first appearance of the accused in question?
That's correct, my Lord. I attend court on first appearance.
Thank you, Brigadier, for your time. My Lord, that is all I have for the witness.
Mr. Harmse. I think they thought, Mr. Harmse, they'll leave it at Ms. Nkabai's height so that you won't ask many questions.
I have a few questions, my Lord, not many. Brigadier, you would know that I appear on behalf of accused one,
That's Mr. Apollos
Mr.
Butta.
Apollos,
Buddha,
known as Butta, yeah.
Buddha.
Yeah. I appear on behalf of
Apollos.
him. He's my client.
It's good to meet you, sir.
Pleased to meet you,
Thank you.
sir. The reason, or let me start there. It might have been mentioned that I can't recall. Whose idea was it? Was it your idea that there should be the further interviews with the accused?
Can you repeat the question? Was it my idea?
Yes. Who decided initially? Whose idea? Whose decision was it?
Mr.
Who said
Harmse,
that?
Mr.
Think-
Harmse, I don't want to interrupt you unnecessarily, but maybe let's give the context.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Apollos Butta, as you call him, Kelly, they gave statements on the
Inquiry.
20th, right? Or the 19th or the 20th? The 19th, I think it was. No, 20th. It was the 20th when the statements were taken, 19th, 20th. And we know that it's not in dispute that Captain Lombard had an informal discussion with Butta and Kelly on the 25th of that month. And we also know that Mr. van Rijn-Steveno, he made a statement on the 29th. So they have all been interviewed before, because they were primary statements.
That's right.
Now the question is, whose idea was to re-interview them or to follow up?
The idea of bringing them in overall was my decision, but the decision I communicated with the team leader, Captain Lombard, and that was actually, I said, let's listen, let's interview these people. Because we read statements in the inquiry, let's re-interview these people.
Thank you.
So I take it that yourself went through all these statements that were available from the accused.
There was an inquiry, I assessed the inquiry, and based on the inquiry we could see there's discrepancies in times and how they articulate the events, and that caused me to say that we need firstly a team that can focus as well as to re-interview the individuals.
Well, I might just explain that the reason why I'm going to look at the witness's evidence in chief is because the statement that was made doesn't contain the evidence that was given, so I need to look at the evidence that was given. Thank you, Mark. You said at some stage, Brigadier, that you went to FCS offices and used the office at Sea Border. I might have written it wrong. You had an office at FCS.
Yeah, that's correct. My office, I utilized the commander's office. And the sea border is 100 to 200 meters from that building. There's two buildings. The sea border on top and then the FCS building down.
So the distance apart from sea border offices and FCS offices is about 100 meters, you said.
200, between 100 and 200, 150, 200 meters apart from each other.
So do I understand then correctly, if Captain Lombard gave evidence, said he's moving between FCS and sea border, he would have to walk 100 meters?
Between the two,
Yeah.
as I said, it's an estimated, it's not exact, it's an estimated.
Brigadier, if we should look at the dimensions of this hall.
Maybe because we can all guess, and sometimes we've realized over time, but also in this case, our guess is not close to reality. So is it further from the back to the front of this
My Lord,
hall,
from
or
where
shorter?
From where I sit, almost to the wall at the back, that is more or less how far this two buildings is from each other.
Now we've tried to calculate it on another occasion, and it's less than 50 meters.
Just less than 15 meters. My calculation can be out, but it's not very far from each other.
Well, the younger people can run 100 meters. For us older people, this is like 200, 300 meters.
Thank you, my Lord.
Thank you, my lord.
So let's put it at about 50, more or less, as a distance that was pointed out.
Thank you, my lord. Brigadier, then you went on to say that between 3 and 4, Captain Lombard and the team joined you yourself. And on which day was that now? Between 3 and 4 in the afternoon, I take it? On which day was that?
On the 4th.
Afternoon on the 4th.
On the 4th, yes.
And that was at FCS.
Yeah, that's correct, at the FCS building.
So Captain Lombard was also there with his team between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the 4th.
That's correct, my Lord.
What is of most interest to me, maybe you can recall, and if you can't, I'll accept it, but can you recall what was your information regarding, at that time now on the 4th of March, regarding accused number 1? Where is he? Where had he been? Did you ask Captain Lombard where accused 1 was?
My Lord, that I cannot, I cannot help with it.
Okay.
But they were in the, I think they were in the, but I cannot. I don't want to,
But
to
before
speculate.
before they arrived at FCS/Sea Border, were you aware where they would find themselves in Saldanha, Vredenburg, Cape Town, or not?
I don't know where they was, but I knew they were not in the cells or at the police station. They would have been in the area where they stay, or in this place. But I really don't know where the detectives from SES got them.
Thank you. Then you mentioned, and I want to ask you if you can recall the time, but you mentioned that Captain Lombard was between your office and Sea Border. And then your evidence led that Captain Lombard came and said to yourself that I have to inform you that Buddha has a blue eye. You specifically remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
What time was that?
That was when they arrived.
Who are they?
The three people arrived when they were on the premise, and there was interactions between Captain Lombard and them, most probably to separate them. Then after that separation, when they took the two people to the Sea Border and Kelly in the reception area, in that time, Captain Lombard informed me about Buddha that have a blue eye. I can recall that, because it's very much important when you interview a person is to make sure that this person is not stabbed or had injuries, because we know the allegations tomorrow it will be that the police was responsible for these injuries. That was important to me.
Did anybody there at Sea Border or FCS, Captain Lombard's team, or anybody that you are aware of look or search or ask accused one, show us your injuries that you say you might have or that you could see, Brigadier?
My Lord, no. Not that I am aware of, except that the fact that I was made aware that I did not even look at the face of this gentleman, because that is operational activities that is happened. But I took note and I said, give guidance. I said we need to report the fact that one of them have a blue eye.
Now I want to ask you something else. In the same sentence where you said, or just after that, when you mentioned that Captain Lombard informed you that accused one has a blue eye, you said, your words were, and they picked him up from the community. On what basis did you say that? I took it that you were talking about accused one.
Accused all three of them. Because we asked the people that was here, the FCS people, to collect them, and when Captain Lombard mentioned about the blue eye, I assumed that he was assaulted by people in the community, or he was most probably in a fight. That is what my take on it was.
So what you're telling the court is that when your evidence led that they picked him up from the community, that was an assumption. You didn't know that whether he was picked up at the community.
I do not know where they picked them up, sir. I just assumed that they were picked up because they were not arrested or in custody or incarcerated anywhere.
Can I just follow up, Brigadier? What do you mean by using the terminology in the community or from the community? And the reason I'm asking you that is because of your last answer, saying they were not in custody, they were not in the cells. So what do you mean when you use that terminology? Because it might mean different things to different people depending on where you are.
My Lord, with that terminology, meaning that the person is at his house, or he's with his friends, or he were maybe at a place where they socialize in the community, or visiting somebody. That is my assumption that when I say in the community.
Other than being detained or
Other
in
than
custody.
detention, or yes, that's correct.
because it seems to be common cause that Mr. Paulus Buta and Kelly Smith, they were fetched from the Wheaties-Bay Hotel by Detective Constable Segobe and May, it seems, earlier that day. So they, yes, not in custody, but they were fetched from a hotel, which is in the community, which is down the road here, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I didn't know where they got them, but they arrived with them at the FCS building.
Thank you, Mark. I've referred to this recording the injuries, but your evidence went in further just before you told the court that you remembered Colonel Allen's name. Your words were that I asked and told him that I assumed I was referring to Captain Lombard. We need to record any injuries before interviews. And you confirmed that is what happened.
That was my discussion with Captain Lombard, yes.
Yeah. And you cannot say that you were presented or given any piece of paper or report stating these were the injuries recorded.
Trust the Captain Lombard, is very experienced, and he would have done recordings or put it somewhere how with regards to what I mentioned.
I accept your evidence that you said you arranged and you did meet with Captain Lombard between 3 and 4 in the afternoon, but his evidence was that he arrived there between 4:30 and 5. Can you recall that he was late?
As I mentioned, my lord, sometime back, and it can be, but it was strong in the afternoon. It was strong in the afternoon when we were there.
So you can confirm that it's possible if Captain Lombard gave evidence that he was probably there up at 4, 5 o'clock, then he's probably right.
Yeah, that would be right. You said 1, 2, 3, 3 to 4. Captain Lombard said that the 2 males, Ira done confessed, but probably you said were willing to confess. As far as the time is concerned, I'm asking you now, between 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock, there's a big difference. I would say between 2 and 4. Between 2 and 4. Yeah, between 2 and 4, Captain Lombard came to me and said to me that there's 2 people that want to confess.
When Captain Lombard informed you that according to him, and his information to you, that the accused 1 and 2 now want to tell the truth, confess. Surely you would have had some questions. Why all of a sudden now, in a few hours' time, do you get the message they want to confess? Did you have questions?
My lord, if I received information about a confession, for me that is progress in the investigation. And if a person wants to confess, he decided to start speaking the truth, I accept that. Because during your confession and before the confession, you have many choices to not confess or to do your confession. And I said, let's continue with the process.
My question to you, Brigadier, is can you recall having questions in your mind as to all of a sudden now within a few hours, 2 of the 3 accused wants to confess, considering and seen in the light, in the context of from the 19th of February, 10 days in February and another 4 days, 2 weeks, of a period of 2 weeks, all of a sudden they want to confess. Did it raise any questions in your mind?
My Lord, I have trust. That's the reason why I brought experienced detectives who's working on a daily basis with these cases. And I had absolute trust in the team that I called to do these interviews and this investigation.
Do you have any idea where accused 1 and 2 slept the morning of the 5th until they woke up later on the 5th in the morning?
My Lord, are you speaking, sir, with regards to when were they after detention, the different police stations?
We spoke about between 2 and 4, and then you got a message that accused 1 and 2 wants to confess. I'm asking you after that, after they've now got the information that accused 1 and 2 is going to confess. It's now early morning. Has anybody told you, have you inquired, have you ascertained where did accused 1 and 2 sleep after that?
No, my Lord, I didn't ask them. For me, the people were still awake. They were still awake. I didn't see them, but I didn't have any reports. They sleep somewhere. And I assume the people is still awake, waiting for the officers to arrive to do the confessions.
Just want to, before I move on, I want to ask you about Colonel Pretorius. If I wrote it down correctly.
Mr. Adams, sir, I don't know how long you still need, but we will not finish with this witness today because Mr. Nkabai must also cross-examine. Brigadier, I'm aware that you were here 3 days last week. I saw you in the witness room and up and down. Are you coming from Cape Town every day?
That's correct.
I would have, if I had my way, I would have pushed through. But I'm aware that we can't rush it. It's an important part of the trial. This could be make or break either way. And it's important for the accused, and it's important for the state. But we still have another counsel that need to cross-examine you, and currently as we have it now, the 2 gentlemen are being held in Malmesbury Correctional Center. So you would know as an experienced police official that it's quite an operation for the uniformed people to get them there. They have to come back tonight. And one of the concerns that I've expressed to counsel this morning, if we sit late, they get to the prison after lockup time, means they don't get a proper dinner. And then they have to leave early in the morning. Is it possible for you to come back tomorrow?
Yes, sir. Your Worship. I
Now,
can provide.
if I want to start at 8:30, will you be able to make it, or should I rather, because it's difficult in the morning driving from Cape Town?
No, 8:30 is fine. I will be here, Jim.
8:30
I will
fine?
be here, Your Worship.
Good.
I'm indebted to your lordship.
So I'll rather take the adjournment now. You can go and you can go through your notes, and then we try and finish the witness rather earlier in the day so that he can get
Thank you, my lord.
out. Thank you, Brigadier. You may be excused. I shall see you in the morning.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Drive safely.
Thank you, my lord.
Then you may be excused, Brigadier. To accused number 1 and 2, Mr. Apollos, Mr. Van Ryn. I am seriously considering, as from tomorrow, for the rest of the week at least, and next week during the week, not to send you to Malmesbury in the afternoons. And the reasons are as follows. You've heard me explain to the Brigadier about the police having to drive up and down. If I want to start at 8:30, I don't even know. I don't want to think what time they have to get up in the morning to get you on time. It also means that you are rushed in the mornings at the prison. And then when you get there, you know, after, as they say in Afrikaans, toek update, you don't get your meals as you should. And then you have just gone to bed, and tomorrow morning you have to be ready very early to come here. I'm contemplating having you detained at a different place in the week. We had an option earlier today. I believe that you expressed concerns because your things are in Malmesbury. But also, I've been told by the warrant officer, the venue that he looked at, it was not an appropriate place to keep you. So they're trying other options at a different police station than the one that we had in mind, that's closer, where at least we won't have the schlep in the morning and the afternoons, but also still a place where you'll be able to take a shower or wash yourself before you come to court, and you won't miss your meals because you need to concentrate. I want you to bring your stuff along tomorrow when you come from the prison. So in the event that we can arrange all the other things, then you've got your stuff with you. It might also be better for you insofar as clean clothes, etc., because your families will be closer, and it might assist you in that regard. I will ultimately make the decision. I've raised it with your counsel this morning in chambers, and I said they can take instructions, but ultimately it's my call to ensure that we utilize the court time efficiently, but also that we still treat you with the necessary dignity. It might be a sacrifice, but try and work with us so that we get through this trial quicker. Do you understand that, Mr. Apollos? Do you understand that, Mr. Van Ryn? Good. Speak to the warrant officer when you go, because he also had a plan in his mind as to how to assist. 8:30 tomorrow morning we're going to start. For this afternoon still, I've already signed your warrants. Malmesbury, Langebaan. And are your families here, Mr. Apollos? People here? Mr. Van Ryn? officer this morning that he has been in contact with your families for your clothes, etc. And he will assist you as far as he can in that regard. Good. Court will adjourn until 8:30.